You won't believe this one. Picture this, I'm standing there in the middle of our neighborhood HOA meeting. Heart pounding like a drum in my chest. When suddenly I feel this hot breath on my neck. Boom! It's Karen. Our self-appointed HOA tyrant. Trying to sneak up and slap me with some bogus fine right in front of everyone. But her sneaky little scheme? It explodes right in her face. Leaving her red-faced and scrambling as the whole crowd turns on her. What a glorious mess. Let me back up a bit. Folks. My name's Alex Thompson. And I've been living in this cozy little suburb of Maplewood Estates for about 5 years now. It's one of those places where the houses are cookie-cutter perfect. The lawns are manicured to within an inch of their lives. And the HOA rules are thicker than a phone book from the 90s. You know the drill, no pink flamingos in the yard. Trash cans must be hidden by 7 a.m. And heaven forbid you plant a tomato bush without committee approval. It's all fine and dandy until you cross paths with someone like Karen Wilkins. Oh. Karen, where do I even start with her? Karen was the HOA president. Elected unopposed because no one else wanted the headache. She was in her mid-50s. With that classic short bob haircut that screamed, "I need to speak to your manager," and a perpetual scowl that could curdle milk. She ruled with an iron fist wrapped in passive-aggressive newsletters. Friendly reminder, your holiday lights are a fire hazard, remove them or face fines, she'd email at 2 a.m. The woman lived for control. Sniffing around like a bloodhound for any infraction. Me? I was just trying to live my life. But somehow, I became her favorite target. It all started last spring when I decided to install a small bird feeder in my backyard. Harmless. Right? Birds chirping. Seeds scattering, a little slice of nature. But nope. Karen spotted it during one of her routine patrols, which basically meant her creeping around on her golf cart like a suburban spy. She banged on my door that very afternoon. Clipboard in hand. Citing Rule 47 subsection B, no structures that attract wildlife without prior approval. Attract wildlife? I laughed at first, come on. It's a bird feeder. Not a bear bait station. But Karen wasn't joking. She slapped me with a $50 fine and demanded I take it down by sunset. I sighed deeply that day. The kind of long, weary exhale that comes from dealing with nonsense. The air smelled like fresh-cut grass mixed with her overpowering floral perfume, gag-worthy. Karen. Seriously? It's for the birds, I said. Trying to keep my cool. She just narrowed her eyes. Lips pursed like she'd sucked on a lemon. Rules are rules. Alex. Follow them or face the consequences. Consequences? For feeding sparrows. It was ridiculous. But I complied to avoid the drama. Little did I know. That was just the appetizer. Fast forward a few months. And the petty jabs kept coming. My mailbox was 1 inch too low, another fine. My recycling bin visible from the street, warning letter. Each time, I'd hear that familiar putt-putt of her golf cart approaching. Like the ominous rumble of thunder before a storm. Why me? Maybe because I was the new guy. Single. Working from home as a graphic designer, no kids. No minivan. Just me and my dog. Buddy. I didn't fit her mold of the perfect neighbor. Or perhaps it was because I once politely suggested at a meeting that we loosen up on the rules a tad. Big mistake. From then on, it was war, silent. Seething war. But here's where the real fire ignites. Our annual HOA barbecue was coming up. The big event where everyone pretends to like each other over hot dogs and potato salad. As secretary, a role I got roped into. I was in charge of the budget report. While digging through the files, I stumbled on something juicy. Karen had been dipping into the HOA funds for personal expenses. We're talking receipts for her spa days. Labeled as community wellness initiatives, and a fancy new awning for her porch billed as neighborhood beautification. Over $2,000 siphoned off. My jaw dropped, ka-ching. The sound of corruption ringing in my ears. Was this real? How had no one noticed? I felt a surge of anger bubbling up. Hot and prickly like static electricity on a wool sweater. This wasn't just about bird feeders anymore, this was fraud. Plain and simple. I copied everything. Stashed it in a folder. And decided to bring it up at the next meeting. But word must have leaked, maybe from nosy neighbor Gladys who overheard me venting to my buddy Mike over beers. Suddenly, Karen's emails turned venomous. Alex, your continued violations are disrupting community harmony. Expect a formal hearing. The meeting was set for a sunny Saturday afternoon at the community center. A bland beige building that smelled faintly of old coffee and desperation. About 50 neighbors showed up, fanning themselves with agendas as the AC hummed lazily. I arrived early. Nerves jangling like keys in my pocket. Buddy was at home. Probably snoring on the couch. Oblivious to the drama. Karen was already there. Perched at the head table like a queen on her throne. Her eyes darting to me with that predatory gleam. Good afternoon, everyone, she cooed. Voice dripping with fake sweetness. Let's keep this civil. Shall we? We plowed through the usual blah blah, pool maintenance. Holiday decor guidelines. My turn came for the budget report. Heart thumping, boom. Boom, I stood up. Papers rustling in my hands. Folks. Before we approve the numbers, there's something you all need to see. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Chairs creaking as people leaned forward. I started laying it out, the discrepancies. The receipts. This isn't right. Our dues are funding personal luxuries, not community needs. Karen's face turned beet red. A flush creeping up her neck like rising lava. That's preposterous, she snapped. Slamming her hand on the table, whack. The sound echoed. Sharp and startling. Alex is fabricating this to deflect from his own rule-breaking. The room buzzed with whispers. The air thick with tension. You could cut it with a knife. But I held my ground. Passing out copies. See for yourselves. That's when she made her move. As I turned to hand a stack to the back row, I heard the scrape of her chair, screech, and felt that whoosh of air behind me. She was ambushing me from behind. Literally sneaking up with her clipboard raised like a weapon. Ready to accidentally shove me or snatch my papers. Gotcha, she hissed under her breath. But oh. The irony, her foot caught on a loose carpet edge. Trip. Stumble. She lurched forward. Clipboard flying. And crashed right into the podium, crash. Papers scattered everywhere. Her evidence of my violations spilling out for all to see. The room erupted. Gasps. Oh my gods. And even a few chuckles. What the heck? Karen, old mister. Jenkins bellowed from the front. I spun around just in time to see her sprawled on the floor. Skirt hiked up awkwardly. Face planted amid the mess. The scent of spilled coffee mingled with her perfume, bitter and cloying. Are you okay? I asked, extending a hand. But inside? Sweet. Sweet vindication washed over me like a cool breeze on a hot day. But wait. Here's the twist that made it epic. As she scrambled up, huffing and puffing, one of the neighbors, Sarah, the quiet accountant next door, picked up a fallen receipt from Karen's pile. Hold on. This is for a luxury cruise. Labeled as HOA retreat. The crowd surged forward. Phones out. Snapping pics, click. Click. Explain this. Karen, someone shouted. Yeah. What about our pothole repairs? Another chimed in. The murmurs turned to roars. The room alive with outrage. Karen stammered. Sweat beading on her forehead. I can explain. It's all a misunderstanding. But no one was buying it. The vote was swift, motion to remove her as president, unanimous. Cheers erupted, woo-hoo, as she slunk out. Head down. The putt-putt of her golf cart fading into the distance like a defeated retreat. I breathed a deep sigh of relief. The weight lifting off my shoulders. Fresh air filling my lungs. In the aftermath, we reformed the HOA, transparent budgets. Relaxed rules. No more bird feeder bans. And Karen? She sold her house 6 months later. Moving to who knows where. Probably to terrorize another neighborhood. But the lesson? Karma's a sneaky beast, it ambushes from behind when you least expect it. Stand up for what's right, folks. Because sometimes the bad guys trip over their own feet. What a wild ride, justice served. One backfired plan at a time.